Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Richard Engberg and I'm an equity research here at Erik Bank with focus on tech. With me I have Jessica Skon, CEO of BTS Group, who has reported today. Jessica, welcome to Erik Bank.
Thank you.
So Jessica, before we discuss the financial results, can you please talk about your career at BTS and what's so unique about the firm?
Yeah, I would be happy to. I've been with the firm 23 years, so I've spent my whole career here, and I've pretty much held every position on the consultant path that one can hold, from an analyst all the way up now to running the company. What I did before this current role is I ran BTS North America, which is 51% of the business in revenues. I took that over in 2016. If I kind of start back at the beginning, I've had a very innovative career inventing a lot of the services that BTS now takes to market. I've led offices, I've led practices, and then ran the biggest unit. So pleasure to be here. And I think your other question was, what's unique about BTS?
Yeah.
I'd say there's two things. The first one, at its simplest, if you think about how companies typically look at change, they have to invest in processes and technology and people. Right? BTS, since its founding, has been focused on helping our clients change through their people. Right? So we are experts at driving change through people, as opposed to process and technology shifts. And underneath that, probably the most innovative capability that we have is our ability to model, our ability to simulate. So we model and simulate entire enterprises, so executive teams can practice running their company into the future. We model with the executive team potential strategies for them that would influence their direction of the firm. We model frontline workflows, so entire supply chains or agile sprints or engineering teams' ways of working. We model and simulate critical roles. And we do it always together with our clients. So the simulations and the models are on strategy, on operating model, and on culture. And then the second, probably most unique thing about BTS is our culture. I would describe it as one that is both high-performing, as you've seen from our shareholder returns, as well as big-hearted.
Okay, great. So let's now go through a quarter. Looking at the quarter, we see some extraordinary growth numbers from both the European segment and the segment other markets. Can you please discuss a bit what is driving this growth? Is there in certain industries?
Not really, actually. Both most of the world, our other markets, and Europe are really diversified in terms of their industry segments, and we're seeing growth across all of the offices and units, which is wonderful. Both growth in the first quarter and in the second. Yeah, it's overall, it's balanced. So we didn't have a standout one deal or something that drove an extra growth, but it's balanced growth across the board.
Okay, great. So looking at the margins in the different segments, we see an exceptional margin in Europe, a strong one in North America, and a bit lower in other markets. Yeah. Can you please elaborate a bit on what's driving the differences in margin?
Sure. The margin in North America, we had a one-time cost in the second quarter, a one-time investment. We invited all of our consultants to London globally. And we didn't do that in Q2 the year before. So that's the delta cost difference between the margin you're seeing in North America and actually a flat or slightly improved margin percentage. For most of the world, it's the investment in putting all of our people together in the conference, as well as some more extraordinary integration costs from the NetApp acquisition, which will decrease over time as integration continues. Other markets also has a kind of a really nice balance of their headcount to demands, whereas Europe and North America in the first half we were still behind in our recruiting. And then I'd say if you look at Europe, they had phenomenal profit improvement. It comes down to, I think, the utilization of their core team. One unique difference between Europe and North America at the moment is North America has a higher percentage of their revenues being done by external contractors than full-time. Europe uses primarily full-time people, or at least a higher percentage of that. So high growth on top of that cost base, and we have a big improvement in margins.
Okay, great. So looking at the quarter, we have mentioned a bit before, were there any specific industries that stood out?
From a positive or a negative?
Well, both.
Yeah, there is one particular industry that I would say gave us a trial run in the volatility of at least what can happen, right? And so what happened for us is the software industry, or the software market, of which last year it was about 20% of our revenues globally, of which almost all of those are in North America, and of which almost all of them are out of our San Francisco office. And starting at the end of the second quarter, so more in early June, early to mid-June, there's a handful of our software companies, not all of them, just a handful, who, because of their market cap valuations, significant declines, like maybe they dropped 50, 60, 70%, and some of those were also running quite unprofitably, did some, like an immediate shift in terms of deciding to freeze hiring, freeze initiatives, and go into cost reduction mode. And so for that handful of our customers, they either postponed or canceled some of the work with us. So that was maybe 4 or 5 or 6 weeks of those phone calls. What's interesting is that other software companies continue to buy, invest, and are investing more in our services. And some of those customers, a couple of them actually, who put things on hold or canceled, have already actually come back, and we're starting to work with them again. So it kind of felt like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So you raised your guidance in this quarter. Can you please talk a bit about the reasons for this?
Sure. We had a very strong first half. We're expecting continued growth in the second half. So we're expecting our profit to be significantly better than last year.
And we have touched it before, but can you please talk a bit about how recruitment is going for you? Do you see it's easier to find people now than before, or is it similar?
It's getting easier. It has become easier in the last few months, especially in the North American market, because most of the world decided to stop recruiting for a while back in May, because they hired a good amount of people. Europe and North America continued to recruit, and it got easier and easier just the last couple months. However, I will say that for North America, we've made the decision to freeze hiring for some time, just to see if this experience with a handful of the software companies continues, and or if it starts to spill over into other industries. We have not seen that yet, but I think we want to be prudent and see how the North American market continues to evolve.
Great. And lastly, you switched 100% to virtual delivery during COVID.
Yeah.
How is the mix right now, and what are clients demanding?
The mix of, the physical delivery is on the increase. Customers are demanding a higher percentage of work with us to be done in person. However, they're also valuing virtual. So our view is that they both are here to stay. Okay. And we have some services, even for one client, that's letting their leaders choose if they want to be in person or virtual. So it's just, they're continuing to give the flexibility to their people, and we provide both.
Okay, and I guess that the hybrid approach is quite common as well.
Exactly. Exactly.
Cool. Jessica,
yeah.
Thank you for taking your time coming here to Erik Bank, and thank you everyone for watching.